Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And today on this episode, we're going to talk about how we talked about something scary without becoming more distant. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see who's here. And I want to welcome a very special guest today, Craig Seaver. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Claire.
How do you feel just being here? It's been a while. It's actually maybe been a year or two since you've been on the podcast, right?
I don't think that's true, but I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. And we're bringing you on today, and we're having this pretty intimate touch-in because we had some really intense news this week. And if you've been following on the gram, we found out this week that I have to have a hysterectomy. And I wanted to share that because it just feels like really big news. It would actually feel inauthentic not to share that. And not only did I really feel some big, interesting things, but obviously this had a way of showing up in our relationship. And I thought, well, we're going to have a hard conversation. We have had a hard conversation around it. And I figured, well, this is also practicing what I preach and actually showing you that are listening or watching what it actually means and in real time what it's like as we navigate a hard conversation. And having a hard conversation is something that I wouldn't say I've mastered, well, I guess in a way we have hard conversations, and we definitely have a history of not having hard conversations, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yes, like you have something to say about that, but we'll get more into that. And I really am proud of how we've learned to navigate these hard conversations, and it's something that I teach in depth in my community. I also get in the weeds with my one-on-one clients, and I just wanted to show all of you in real time how we navigate these hard conversations and what feels scary. And so much of what I used to be scared of is just the fear of pushing you away or maybe revealing something to you or sharing something with you that felt really intimate, and how would you take it and what would it do for us? So are you ready to talk about it?
Let's do it.
Okay. So just want to kind of set the frame. And for those of you who are wondering about what's happening, so a hysterectomy is a pretty major surgery. I actually didn't know how major it was. It's removing an entire organ. And And I was kind of surprised of what it brought up for me. And I've been really experiencing a whole range of emotions. I'd say from grief to, this is going to sound strange, relief to confusion to shutting down to feeling okay. And it's really brought up a whole range of emotions that I'm really glad I've walked my walk and have experienced, really fully allowing my feelings to come through. And one thing that is true for us is that we had a spoken agreement. We've touched in around like not having kids, right? It's just something that we had kind of decided. And what was so interesting was having this news, and honestly, I was in a space of we didn't know, right? So that's a whole nother layer, I think I can talk about another time, around dealing with the unknown. It was really up in the air, like, oh, okay, we can just get this other surgery. It's going to be really minor and just like snip these little fibroids out. And there was a whole period, I'd say like 2 weeks maybe, where we didn't know, actually maybe longer than that, 3 weeks, where I just didn't really know what was going to happen, and how I was surprised at how comfortable I felt sitting in the unknown. But now that it's kind of final, what I realized is that there was this whole other set of emotions and things that had opened up for me around the finality of things. And what I didn't realize it was bringing up was also, wow, in that moment where a hysterectomy, totally taking like organic kids, how would I say that? Having kids in my womb.
I have no idea. I haven't had kids.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. So not really being sure about, okay, well, in this traditional way, I guess. So it's, I don't know, medically traditional. I don't know what the appropriate way is. Anyway, the medically normative way of having children would be to have a baby in my womb, and to have the hysterectomy really be the thing that the doctors are highly recommending. If I don't do it, it's impacting other major organs, so it's pretty serious. It needs to be done. It needs to be done soon. But what I wasn't prepared for was, wow, revisiting feelings that I thought we had talked about and got clear on, and then really realizing in myself that, wow, actually, I'm feeling a little different now that this is on the table and it has to happen. And what that brought up for me. And well, actually, there was the period of time where like we just thought it was on the table, but then this week I had a pelvic exam and it was pretty like, shoot, the OBGYN was very clear that this needs to happen. So sharing how I really felt while I was in the process of being in the phase where, okay, hysterectomy is on the table, but maybe there are some other options. What came up for me was, wow, I think I don't know. I don't know how I feel. And it feels so final. And I am feeling inside myself not being sure. I would call it being wobbly. I didn't know. And in that space where we had this spoken and kind of unspoken agreement, a little combination of both, that we don't have kids. And it felt really vulnerable and exposing to myself, and I would have to expose it to you, that I maybe want to revisit this conversation around kids. And a couple things were happening for me around, if this type of conversation, this wobble had happened years ago for me internally, how I would have handled that would be very different than how I handled it now. I think before I would have kept it to myself, maybe minimize my own feeling around it, or felt some kind of obligation to the previous conversation that we had, and really staying very rigid and regimented with that decision and not giving myself the space, the grace, or even the ability to revisit something inside you, because a former mindset I used to have was, I can't change my mind, that we had this agreement and we talked about it and we can't ever revisit it. And I just even know as I'm saying this that that's just a bunch of bullshit, because we are, and my intention with you is to grow and to evolve and to accept you every day. And so I'm just realizing for me internally that that was a realization that I had, that I wanted to bring this up with you because it was different for me. So I wanted to just let everybody see kind of our inner workings as we entered into this conversation of, I feel different. I know we had talked about something, but I don't know. It's feeling a little different. How do we approach this conversation? So I guess the question I want to ask you, so we can share with everybody else, but what would have been the old us? Like, how would we have handled this before, do you think?
I think there would have been a lot of the traditional sweep under the rug type of mentality of, that's such a big thing. I mean, it's going to put a big lump under the rug, but I think that's just something that I would have been comfortable with doing, because that's going to just stir up way too much emotions that I wouldn't know how to handle and express in a healthy way. And so my healthy way of doing that would have been to tuck it away somewhere else, just avoid completely.
Yeah. And I think this is important for those watching and listening to hear this. It's not the situation that would have been wrong or that, would have been something at fault. It was more about what I'm hearing you say is that that's just the in that time frame of that period of your life, what you knew as far as healthy, big quotation marks, would have been to just not talk about it. Let's just not talk about it. So I want to be clear that that wasn't because of the thing at hand, but more about just a pattern that you had.
Yeah, and the emotions that would have probably come attached to it.
Right. And maybe your ability, like how you felt with those emotions.
Correct.
Right. Or maybe how you didn't want to feel with those emotions.
Even better.
For sure. So when you heard me, okay, I had this big awakening or realization. I noticed some feelings inside me, and I was sharing my unsureness with you. Did anything inside you feel scared or want to pull away?
Well, I'm also thinking about like the unspoken agreement, and that always came off as jokes when we would go to maybe like a vacation where there was an adults only, and it's like, oh, this is so fucking nice to not have kids around. It's like, all right, we're on the same page, no kids around. But I mean, that's just a specific time in the space of sharing with you. And I'm forgetting your question.
Yeah, I was asking about when I shared how unsure I was.
Oh.
Did anything inside you feel scared or want to pull away or want to leave me?
Whoa. No, I didn't think that as far as leaving, because I mean, it's a tough thing, like when you do vows early on and say, through thick and thin, happy and healthy, and it's like, but I didn't put this into the vow, like, but that's really what that means is whatever happens, we're in it together. And I think for me, I mean, it was just more about wanting you to be healthy. If that means something gets taken off the table, it's probably not as important because you're important. So it was more of, that sucks, that's unfortunate, it's sad, but what would be even more sad is if you continue to live in this unhealthy state and not get treated appropriately, and not consider all the options without the proper education behind it.
What even is just coming up for me as we're like even revisiting this conversation now. I mean, we've been in this conversation for, this whole week, but I'm even noticing something that's coming up for me right now that I haven't revealed to you, which is, oh, wow, I guess part of me has been scared of disappointing you. Like, one thing that I know about you is if you guys, I mean, you guys may have known this, and if you're a new listener, but Craig was a middle school math teacher, and I've seen with kids, it's like so freaking sexy. I'm talking that sound. And I'm just noticing, like, out of either of us, I'll just tell y'all, this is like inside scoop. Like, you would be an incredible parent, maybe even a better parent than me. It's not a competition. But I'm just noticing this part of myself that, oh, I'm actually feeling this fear of, wow, I don't want to disappoint you. And that my ability to have children in this traditional medical way is removed. And somehow, like, wow, there's this feeling of and fear of, wow, am I going to disappoint you? I don't know if that's opening anything up for you.
Yeah, I think the old...
I'm just sorry. Continue.
The old version probably would have been upset because I held on to some traditional idea of what a marriage was. As far as get married, have kids, grow old, kids take care of you. But yeah, that's evolved just like I think I have, just like I think we have, and it's evolved into something more special than, not to say having kids wouldn't be special, but it's evolved into something special that I think can only grow if you and I are both healthy.
Not just physically healthy, right?
I said healthy. I didn't. Emotionally and physically healthy.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at us.
Who'd have
So, who'd have thunk? At this point, at what point in this process did you feel like we've got this? Or did you feel like we've got this whole hysterectomy thing down packed? Or okay, I'm going to ask that question again, Lauren, because the dog just threw up. So, and he just threw up again. Okay. And 3, 2, 1. At what point in this process of the hysterectomy did you feel like we've got this? Or did you feel like that the whole time?
Or not at all.
Or not at all?
I guess I don't know if there's an exact moment, but it definitely felt more comfortable when you were able to be vulnerable with the most recent doctor, Nazareth.
You can share what happened. You can share anything around that you witnessed too.
Well, I got to be part of it. There's certain parts I guess I'll keep to myself. But no, I think just observing your interaction with her really seeing you being able to open up about very personal items pertaining to life and specifically to the current situation. But even when she was contemplating not being able to do it because it was going to be such a large procedure, that she wanted to remain confident, but I think meeting her, talking to her, listening to her, watching you two interact, that's when I felt a little bit better about the situation. Um, there was joking, there was crying, a lot of crying, but yeah, I think when the humor side part of you can show, I know there's other times where humor can sort of be masking things, but this was just humor in like a relief state, so that's when I felt it as well.
Yeah, I felt that too, around having it. And it was, thank you for also just being there. Craig was in the room the whole time. So I had the pelvic exam with the OBGYN was kind of necessary. We had all the imaging, but she just wanted to get in there and poke around herself. So the person he's referring to is the OBGYN. And it was so helpful to have you there just emotionally. And yeah, it felt so comforting just to know that you had my back. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't feel at any time that we didn't have this. If you have been listening for a while, a couple years ago, was it in 2021, 22? I had an explant. So I had breast implants and I said, these got to go. And you took care of me. And I didn't really understand how intense the recovery for that particular surgery was going to be, but it was actually, I was pretty messed up, wouldn't you say?
It was pretty messy.
Couple funny things with these procedures around Craig. What was the most fun part about that with the drains?
Draining the fluids, just measuring it. I don't know what kind of, I don't know what the juices were, but they were your juices of, it was tough.
Yeah.
A lot of internal swallowing of just keeping my own stuff down.
There's a lot of hard swallowing. When he gets a little nauseous, he does a hard swallow. And
Thinking
there,
about it now.
yeah, there it is. There was a hard swallow. And some gagging. There was a gag, a couple gags. Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, what I was really feeling, and we've been through this before, where I was really incapacitated, unable to function really. I mean, I think we just slept. You slept on the couch. I slept in a recliner, like a zero gravity chair, for at least a week. I think it was 2 weeks, in fact, that I had to sleep in that chair because I couldn't get up out of bed. But what I knew walking into this is even a more intense surgery because we're literally removing an organ. And there's no qualms. I just know that you're going to take immaculate care of me, like truly, Nurse Craig. So awesome. But yeah, I didn't feel like at any point that we wouldn't navigate this situation at all. And to be super clear, Craig, you've always been supportive, and it's my body, my choice. You've always been 100% behind me. Oh, I'm just feeling tender around it. And I know you love me regardless of what I do for you or my capabilities or not. Like I really know and feel that you love me for just being me. So I'm also feeling a little tender. Before we got on, we did part of our check-in, which we do. We should probably make some kind of PDF for people to do a couple check-in. We have a unique way of doing it, but I'm just even feeling tender because the check-in's so powerful that it just really helps me to drop in with you. Do you notice anything too, like after we do those exercises?
Like in the body, I feel lighter. Mind, I feel more connected. I guess I just feel more open and I'd say willing, because this isn't always my jam to sit here and put things out to, I'm fine putting them out to you, but yeah.
Yeah, he's a little bit more introverted, y'all. So, but I think the check-in that we've created has been really powerful. And I'm just even noticing I'm feeling even more tender, which is totally fine. I have no problem crying. I used to not be that way. But yeah, I'm just feeling I'm even more tender and having more access because it's true. The check-in does help us to open and connect. Okay. So was there anything, let me just read this question, Lauren, sorry. Was there anything that I did or said that helped you to not shut down during this process, do you feel?
I think there was a lot of, from you, I statements, or it was I'm doing this, I'm feeling this. So it was just recollecting, like, that's a lot of things that I, as in you, are taking on and feeling, and you're already going through this physical attribute. So it took a lot of, like, dialogue, transcriptions to figure out that's a lot that she's taking on you. So just being sympathetic to all the I statements of, okay, how can I help re-establish that this is we, that we're working through this. Yes, your body is going through some shit, but we're in it together. Whatever I can do to actually physically, emotionally help you. That's what I wanted to make sure that was clear.
And you are so great at making sure that's clear. And I also, what I'm hearing you say is like around the I statements, and something that I know you know about. And I want to just preface this with, did you feel anything energetically? And so when I say energetic, y'all, I mean the undercover emotions and thoughts. So that's kind of one way how we define energy. But besides, because I think people can get really stuck up in the technicality of saying things correctly. And I want you to speak to, did you notice anything underneath the words that helped you to stay open as I was communicating these things to you?
I mean, it wasn't always just a characteristic or a topic. There was feelings attached to it, so it helped to be more sympathetic to those needs. Because if you were just to say, I got this bubble in my gut, but it's like, I feel so tired from having, like, just the attached feelings definitely gave it even more of a humanistic feel to it. So that was, I mean, I was able to adhere to that much easier because of the I and then feel about a specific situation.
Totally. And I also, again, like, just because I know some of y'all listening are going to be like, well, how did she say it? And it's also just to be clear, if I had said it in a place of like matter of fact, or I was just kind of saying like very coldly, this is what we're going to do. Or if I was saying it with irritation or
You don't know
charge.
what I'm going through.
Right. If I had said like maybe kind of from a more victim-y kind of standpoint, like you could never understand, do you think that you would have had a different reaction?
Sure. I would have said, you're right, I don't understand. It would have been combative. It would have been, or I would have held on to that and said, I'm going to put that in my back pocket and that's going to come out later. Like, you did this, so now I'm going to do this. Just the little tallies.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I also just hope y'all are paying attention. Like, you could probably even feel that right now. Like, even though we're role playing it and it's an example. I mean, I can really feel our old pattern in that around, I mean, how we would do that with each other. And it's taken us intentionality, tools, support, and learning the skills of how to have hard conversations while still really staying connected, still really feeling into our emotions and holding space for each other. So I totally agree. We're doing so great. And one of the things that I'm even just reflecting on right now around, okay, if I had said it snippy or with like, you could never understand, one thing that I'm kind of just even seeing for myself in the past is just the uncertainty itself would have made those kind of not great emotions, and not, I don't want to label those emotions as not great. My in the past, when I didn't have the skill sets or the capacity to really work with my emotions and to allow them to come in and to come out, that my inability to navigate that uncertainty would have totally bled out into these interactions. And we've seen that dynamic between us like over and over again, where because I would minimize my own emotions or hold them in, I mean, that energy's got to come out. And the person that you're going to take them out on is like, that you are that person and I am your person. It's just going to come out that way. And so I'm just noticing how the impact of understanding how to navigate uncertainty really also is a precursor and a setup for us to have healthy relating and healthy communication, because I've got to take care of my own stuff in my own street. And yes, I recognize like you are a wonderful partner, and at the same time, it's not your responsibility. It's not fair to you to dump all these emotions and to expect like you to handle them perfectly. I don't know if that's opening up anything inside you too.
I mean, what it feels like it's opening up is just more of really relying on like a foundation of partnership. Because I feel like when something big arises like this, it can get sort of this internal tallying of, well, I'm doing this, you're doing, like, it just becomes, and maybe that's the competitive nature of what we did growing up, or just the competitive nature within each of us. But yeah, really setting that aside to say this is a fucking hard team effort against a very difficult situation. And that could be, it doesn't have to be a very difficult situation, it can be any situation really, where if you're tackling it individually, hoping for a nice, comfortable, together outcome, it's really not going to pan out all that well.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we've definitely worked on this season, just even, at least for me, I know we've worked on this together, but just the deep vulnerability. Like you and I both have these deep protections against vulnerability, and that doesn't really work well in relationship or marriage. Like we need to be fully revealing and fully exposing our deeper things. I think that's when I hear you say like how we tally, we tend to test each other, and we've seen the damage that does to each other, and really being on board. And one thing that I think that I will just say that you've done a really good job at recently, like calling me out, like, whoa, is you've been the one to actually remind us when we start to get that amp up and we can feel the conflict coming up, which, by the way, conflict is necessary and healthy. Like you need to be able to know how to handle that. It's not the absence of conflict, it's how you handle it. But you've been like the one to say, hey, we're on the same team. And I just want to say thank you. I'm so appreciative of you really holding that space recently.
I think I'm just reiterating that because you told me that, and that made a lot of sense to me. So it's really just, I'm using your words.
Well, yeah, we're using it together, and thank you for holding me accountable. I mean, that's also the truth too. Is there anything that you felt that's helped you to stay present with me and connected during this whole big experience?
I guess it's a little bit of empathy versus sympathy. I think it's be tough for me to empathize because I don't have woman parts, and I haven't been told what I should and shouldn't do with those woman parts for a long time. I guess there is a moment where it's like, oh, I could get snipped or have things snipped off of me. That would be possibly a similar situation, but yeah, it's just realizing I just have to be super sympathetic to all of the things that you might be going through.
And I mean, I'll just interrupt that for a second, because I actually feel like you're in some ways more intuitive than I am. You've just learned how to shut it off better. I mean, like men are just, you guys are socialized. It is not normal for men to be in touch or fluent with their emotions and talking about their feelings. I just think that's important to say, because I do think you have a natural innate ability better than mine, but there's a lot of conditioning and social messaging that says that you can't or shouldn't be like that.
I was just thinking about how if I were just one of the guy friends, like, how are things with Claire? How's the situation going? I can just imagine having a different share with them where it was like, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Like,
let's get a beer, bro.
well, maybe, but yeah, I mean, those are different types of relationships, and yeah, it would probably dive a little bit deeper, but I just imagine that being like the intro to it, and how just surface level that start is, but to build on that and go deeper and talk about like what does it mean for that to really suck. And it sucks that that's being taken away from you, from us, and it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of the relationship, it's maybe the start of something different, something new. We didn't imagine this was going to happen, so who's to say something great's not going to come from it. But
Yeah. And do you feel like with that, I mean, I love hearing you say that. It feels so safe, and I can just feel your true feelings and empathy around that. And I would say, do you feel like you've always had access to the empathy, and do you notice that, is there anything that maybe has changed in our relationship that's helped you to open more to that empathy?
I guess it goes back to being on the same team. It's like, and I consider myself the weak link, but you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And so for our team to remain strong, like I do feel like I have to try and grow as much as I possibly can to keep up with how much I've seen you grow over the past years. So yeah, just staying focused on maintaining that teamwork, that partnership, that camaraderie, and using those good times to help navigate through the tough times, that can also help too. I don't know, I just got lost in thought.
You're doing so great. And what's so funny? I'm just recognizing this is like such a great deflection for you, because you're saying how much I've grown. Like, Craig, you've grown like leaps and bounds. And I also want you just to give yourself some credit for yourself too, around you're saying, oh, you've done so great, Claire, and how much you've grown. Like, hello to you, that who here has actually grown too?
I have to.
I'm sorry?
I have as well.
You have as well, for sure. And I mean, it just like, this is so cute and vulnerable, because like people are going to see this. Oh, and this is, I mean, even just look at this, Craig, like you talking about your feelings, like y'all send me some DMs from watching or hearing this episode. Like, it's really inspiring. And I hope you guys are also taking away, Craig is, I love you, babe, but you're like a dude, like you are just, thank God you don't watch football like other dudes that I know. Like, when you watch football, I mean, you definitely like football, but you are what I would say, vanilla. I mean, I love vanilla. I love vanilla. Vanilla, you have to have vanilla for cookie dough ice cream.
Vanilla? Huh.
I mean, but I love vanilla. And like, hello. You're just like, I love vanilla. You're so yummy and lovely. And it's the base for chocolate chip cookie dough. So I say that, okay, the reason I'm saying this is because this truly is, I hope, giving other people hope that if somebody that has really deep patterning of shutting down, of avoiding, of ignoring their feelings, that you are a great example of what it takes. And we've done another podcast on this before we had these fancy mics and had this nice shooting space. But wouldn't you say that this has been definitely an evolution for you? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when you started noticing that I was growing and I was going to do this work regardless, like, did that change anything inside for you?
Yes. There were...
Hey, go lay down. Go lay down, please. Go to bed. Go to bed. Lauren, he's just barking outside. Okay, we're going to put our backs to us. Go again. I was going to decide to do this on my own.
I think for me, there might have been like a competitive side to it where I knew I wasn't going to overcome or outpace your growth, but I did want to at least keep you within sight. because I do want that common language. I do want that common, why is she screaming into a pillow? Oh, that makes sense. She's just getting some things off her chest. But yeah, just having the commonalities of language and processes makes it understand. Like, I may not be able to help in certain situations. You may not be able to help, but at least we have other outlets to kind of go through and suggest towards one another. But yeah, it was necessary if I wanted to remain in some kind of emotional contact with you. It was tough. It's still tough. Um,
I also think thank you for saying that, because I think what somebody could make up is that this is easy for you. Like, Craig's just different, and it's so easy for him to kind of break through the shutdown. And right, I think that's just an important piece, that this is like not like you're cured, that you make conscious choices to break through and to feel, and to, in order for you to connect with me, there has to be something that you need to work on inside yourself. And so I just want to be super clear, guys. This is not because Craig is, this, I don't know, Messiah or anything like that. Like he's yeah, ooh, don't like that I said that. But he's not this like albino weird unicorn
just vanilla.
vanilla. Okay, we can repair that. I mean, I'm so sorry for calling you vanilla, babe. You're not. You are cookie dough monster with sprinkles and hot fudge
Rocky
and
Road.
ew, yuck. We're learning so much. Ew, yeah, you do like Rocky Road. Sick. What?
I'm just saying it's a funny name.
Okay, we'll go with funny. But anyway, you really consciously have to work on being more open. And it's not like you just I got lucky and here you are. No. You want to speak to that?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, I probably struggle with it every single day. There are definitely days or stretches where I'm not very good at it, and you get reeled back in and start going through the process again of just connecting and maintaining. I guess it's more about consistency, but yeah, if there's a bad day that turns into 2, maybe 3, that can be tough. But once you find your footing again, as far as what it means to be connected and supportive and loved and loving, yeah, you can get back to it. But it's, I would say, a daily struggle, battle. It's not yet consistent enough to feel natural.
Yeah. So I just want to put that out there, y'all, that this takes work. And also, did you notice anything from me doing my work that's encouraged you to be better and more available?
Well, I mean, sometimes I don't see you doing your work. So I just imagining you doing your work.
Tell me what you mean, see me doing my work versus...
I don't always see you journaling. I might have already left for work, or I don't always see you meditating, or I don't always see you doing yoga, or I don't always see you going outside and going on walks. But I know those things are happening because I've seen them happen. But yeah, knowing that you're doing those things on a daily, more than daily basis, yeah, it creates like, well, I want to and have to, need to, all of the things to be in that with you require modification to what I'm doing, which may not be those things on a consistent basis, but working them into it. I don't know if that even answered a question or the question.
I think it's great. I think however you wanted to answer, that's fine. Okay. So let's kind of leave everybody with this, and I think they've gotten some good insight to us, but what do you feel has been the best way to start a hard conversation with us feeling connected and doesn't feel like an attack?
I definitely think the I and we comments can come off as something you've been thinking about or focusing on in a good way. When it's more of the you, that's where I think I've done something wrong or I didn't do something. So it's more of to approach the hard conversations to start with, I've been noticing this, or I've been noticing that we have been doing this. Does that kind of get a head start onto a hard conversation? But some of your intro phrases of, well, it usually starts with a deep breath. So, I want to talk to you about XYZ, and if you can keep an open mind. So it's almost like, what is that saying? I want to tell you something, but don't get mad. But it's phrased a little differently. Because it's like, well, I can get mad if I want to. Like, I don't know how I'm going to react. But I think your intro to it, so, I mean, I guess you could speak more to the intros that you have with hard conversations. But I've noticed those, picked up on those, and appreciate those.
I totally love that. And obviously I work on those, but also can you speak to the bigger part here, which is the energetics underneath it? Like the energy of how it's all being communicated towards you.
Say that. You'll do in the most loving way possible. But energetically, it's coming off as soft, courteous, courteous in the time frame at which maybe you're going about it. Maybe one or both of us was busy, but finding that time. Gentle. Sympathetic. All the mushy gushy ways of getting to the hard stuff. It's sort of that Oreo conversation of, we know there's the good meat in the middle, but the hard surroundings might be tough to break through, and I think you've done just a great job with softening the blow.
Yeah. And I guess too, this is a great, I never thought about asking you this question, but if you can feel my anxiety and my fear and my harshness or my urgency or my push, have you noticed that have an impact on our conversations?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, it'll probably be short-lived, or somebody will storm off and walk off in the other direction. And then revisiting it becomes even harder, because it's like we left it in such a bad state that how are we going to repair that to get to what the actual issue was? But yeah,
So you can feel if I mean, I will say this, guys, like you are so intuitive, because if I haven't dealt with my emotions, if I am in a space of fear that's making me spiral, that's making me push, that's making me come with charge. I mean, we have done this. It's been a pattern for us very early on, even early into our marriage, where that didn't go well. Okay. It doesn't work. And so I'm just, maybe the contrast, like tell me your experience noticing. And I mean, that's maybe part of the growth that you're speaking to. Like you could tell when I was coming from a place of fear and spiral or anxiousness versus how I approach the conversations now.
Yeah. And I don't think that's easy to explain, mainly because it's something that evolves over time, noticing certain things about one another. So yeah, putting words to like, oh no, this is like just that this is going to go great or this is going to go very poorly. That's sort of in the moment. I think I wouldn't be able to explain how I'm able to recognize, if at all, whether or not.
So overall, if you were to compare when we first started dating, before we understood how to kind of navigate our own feelings, navigate our own patterns of protection, compared to now, what would you say would be the biggest difference that you've noticed?
The biggest difference I noticed from you is just the way you approach the conversation. Not changing the topics. I mean, now you're even more honest and open about, I was about to say abrupt, but open, like not holding back on certain things because they have to be discussed, but it's the way that the different ways now that you have in your toolbox of starting the conversation, opening up the conversation. Yeah, I guess the conversation starters have what some of the things that I've noticed. Yeah.
Well, that sounds so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And just a reminder, Craig is still also learning his emotions, as am I. And one thing that is so important, it's not just it's not just what you say, it's who you're being when you say it. That's, I think, the undercover thing that Craig is feeling.
It is.
It is what he's feeling, but maybe not, communicating it. But thank you so much, Claire. Thank you so much, Craig, for being here and sharing this with us. Also, we do have a little visitor too. Oh, he doesn't want to come here. We do have oh God. We do have a guest who's been here waiting. You want to say anything? Okay. Well, he's shut down. Well, thanks, Craig. I hope this insight into how we have hard conversations has helped, and I'm excited for next steps. I'm actually kind of excited for you to take immaculate care of me. You're such a good nurse. It's super vulnerable for me to accept help like that. So thank you, babe.
You're welcome. Love you.
Love you. Love you guys. Mwah.